We are still talking about COVID testing, but here in Canada. And if you've been for a COVID test lately, you've probably waited for a very long time in a very long line. Well, private companies have now started offering at home testing. They're expensive, they run about $400, and doctors say they're just not worth it. Dr. Andrew Boosery is part of the Canadian Medical Association's post pandemic advisory group. He joins us this morning. Doctor, good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Anne-Marie.
Let's start first of all with the pros and cons of these very expensive tests.
Sure. I mean, I think on one hand, more testing for people who are symptomatic or who have exposures and high risks is a really good thing. So I think for people who have fit that criteria to go out and get testing is definitely advised. It's within the public health guidelines, and it's something that we want to see happen. The downside of when you've got something like a private test, which are at a cost of over $400 to $500, for people who don't really need the test, who are not symptomatic, who do not have those risks or contacts as explained, there's really no value in that test. And actually, there's a bit of a paradox in where you think you'd be getting a test to help, but actually it may be contributing to the backlog with all the questions about where some of these private tests are being done.
The argument could be made that the province itself is already paying private companies to help with testing. Pharmacies, for example, as well as some of the labs within the public health network are private labs where the testings are processed. So how is getting an at-home test any different than what the province is already doing?
Well, it is quite a bit different, I think, on some of the aspects of how these tests are being processed, how they're being advertised. There's so many questions which is different than just what's being able to be rolled out at the pharmacies. And it's also, there isn't much regulation at all about what the prices are. And so I think there are real concerns about this being a predatory model on people's rightful fear and anxiety. And really just too many question marks, unclear about where these tests are actually even being processed. Are they going to public labs? Are they further contributing to the backlog? So without these questions answered, and with these sort of prices and this sort of inequity that's coming to bear, it really is hard to see how this is a value add or a game change as we're all trying to struggle through this pandemic.
What are your concerns in terms of long-term effects on the healthcare system? If people are going to go ahead and get these private tests done anyway, for, as you say, their own peace of mind, down the road when we're out of a pandemic, what kind of effect does this have?
Yeah, again, we've got a backlog of over 80,000 tests. We have real concerns with our lab capacity. And I think if it's really about what does this mean, the question and the answer to me is we have to double down on our publicly funded Medicare system. That is, to me, entirely clear. We've seen for-profit measures fail people. We've seen them fail in our own country when we think that they can actually reduce wait times. In provinces like Saskatchewan, they've had the complete opposite effect. And when we've seen what's happened in long-term care homes with for-profit delivery actually having more risk and more death. So really, I think we have to come out of this pandemic, or really through the pandemic, and doubling down in our publicly funded system to know that these are the best ways that we can protect people and ensure that when we are spending dollars, that we're ensuring that there's value for everyone, and that there's ways that we can actually optimize the healthcare system.
Dr. Boosery, I want to thank you for joining us on your morning today. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Anne-Marie. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. If you like this, be sure to subscribe here.
And you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.